Hello and welcome, my friends. Welcome to the Cancer energy and welcome to summer. Of course, Cancer is that cardinal zodiac, which is a zodiac that ushers in a new season. So, Cancer is ushering in the summer. Yay for summer! Now, before we get going too far into this reading, I do want to wish everybody who has the sun sign of Cancer a very happy birthday. Welcome back to your energy. Now, please note, no matter where Cancer does or does not lie in your astrological birth chart, it will impact you, just as the moon impacts you. It is an energy that comes forth and embraces us globally. So we're going to have this energy embrace us and hopefully work with us. The decks I do have, this is the Universal Celtic Tarot. It just felt really right for the Cancer reading. And then I have the Beyond Lemuria Oracle. Again, it's the emotional, intuitional energy that's coming forward that seems to be connecting to these two decks. All right, let's get into this. Let's see what we can expect throughout our time in Cancer. And we do have the Cancer energy with us until Leo comes in about the 22nd. So, and when I say about, it just depends on the time. Sometimes it's like really, really early on the 22nd that feels like the 21st. So because it's not down to what day it is here, it's down to the universal cycle, that rotation that brings in the energy. That's why if you look on the calendar, a lot of times yesterday was put as the summer solstice. The summer solstice came in kind of midday, I guess. Now you'd have to look at your time zone and when that energy came forward. And Cancer came in very early this morning. Well, for me anyway. We have the Five of Cups. We have the Four of Wands. It's in reversal. The Eight of Pentacles. Temperance in reversal. The Two of Pentacles in reversal. The Eight of Cups. You were going with a nice pattern there of upright reversal, upright reversal. That's okay. So right away you can see we're going to have some stability. However, at times that emotional energy is going to topple us. It's going to overwhelm us. The two balance cards are in reversal. Temperance is that energetical balance. Two of Pentacles is that kind of, grounding balance, the stability balance. Water can easily overwhelm us. It's going to be important. We start with the 5 and end with the 8. Well, 5 of Cups, it talks about the choice. What are we focusing in on? This card usually has 3 overturned cups, and behind the figure is 2 upright cups. What are you focusing in on? And that's going to be key over the next month. What are you focusing in on? What is getting your energy? You focus in on those overturned cups, and it's going to suck your energy dry because it's taking away. However, if you look at the two upright cups, that talks about, again, union. It talks about balance. And when you look at the Two of Cups, you have the caduceus there. We need to be very mindful of where our energy is going. What's happening? The Eight of Cups reminds us of the importance of checking in. We don't need to do deep dive reflection. We need to see where we're going. And I love how this one's a path with the 8 cups. And we need to look at, okay, what are we doing right now? Do we feel good? Are we able to focus in on what's important? The 8 of Pentacles is a mastery card. Again, the 2 upright cups, the important pieces. Or is those 3 overturned cups taking away again? And this is going to be a constant check-in, not just like once a day, check, I'm done. And it doesn't have to take hours and hours. It's just a quick, okay, what's happening for me right now? That's going to help us get on our feet. It's going to help us to be able to make good choices for ourselves. And we do have the 2 8s that are in upright. In angel messages, when you see that 8, the angels are telling you that something good and abundant is coming forward. You need to stay true to your path. The 4 of Wands is that rite of passage card. Not only is it a card of stability, you can see that rite of passage here. Again, we're following that sparkly path forward. But we need to, when we are working with this card, that means we're working with our 2 upright cups. We're working with the 8 of Pentacles. We're focusing in on life-giving aspects of your world rather than what isn't going right and what you're not happy about. Remember, my friends, when we focus in on stuff that isn't going right and we're like, oh, woe is me, this sucks, I don't like it, you're feeding that. It's taking your energy. Whereas when you start to focus in on what is going right, what you're excelling at, you start to see that pathway forward. Again, we have another sparkly pathway going forward. I think this is why this, when I was looking at what decks, I was like, this deck, this is why we needed the sparkly pathway forward. Because a lot of us are feeling really flat and really stuck. The key piece is not allowing those emotions, those fears, that hurt to overwhelm you. Again, we're looking at temperance, that energy flow, right? We need the stability of earth, going back to the 2 of Pentacles, that is going to be easily toppled. What tools do you need to start to maintain that energy, maintain that stance? It is very individual, and you may need to be really creative with it because we do have some bigger energies coming in, including at the end. Oh, it's like the 20, oh, just a second here. Let me check my calendar. Sorry, it's the 18th. Mercury goes into retrograde. That's a huge topple for many of us because we have our communication disturbed. People become very reactive, and that's not going to help. We need that balance. We need to stay on that sparkly pathway forward. It's going to be, well, it's easier said than done. However, remember, a little bit of work goes a long way in maintaining that pathway, maintaining that focus, because that's what it's going to be. Where are we focusing our energies? Are we focusing and looking for those sparkles, that happiness, that joy, or are we stuck in the overturn? Internal explorer. Really reconnecting into that 8 of Cups, checking in to how we're feeling internally, physically, emotionally, and spiritually. What's happening? Are the world, like, do we have that fast forward whirl in our brain, or are we able to focus in and get some work done? And again, this work could be your 9 to 5 work. It could be some emotional work, physical work, spiritual work, creative work. We've got a lot of work. And some of it needs to be play too. That's the thing with mastery. Mastery isn't about just slogging through to do the to-do list. It's more about that creation, expression of self, that passion of what it is we're doing, because we're mastering it. Throat chakra, express your truth. Really reminding us that, yeah, during Cancer, we are going to have that Mercury in retrograde come in. It transcends through Leo into August. It's about, I think, 3 and a bit weeks. Mercury goes direct. I can't see it right away. Let's look at my... And if you guys haven't seen it on my social media, so even on the community page on YouTube here, Instagram, that type of thing, I post what's called sky in a flash, so we know when things are coming in and out of retrograde, where the moons are, that type of thing. The 11th. Oh yeah, no, I can see it. When I looked at the 11th, I can see it. Your throat chakra. We know where our throat is. That's where our throat chakra is. And it's all about our communication. So the voice that we have and our ears that we use to hear. Going to be negatively impacted. Any blue crystal can help with that. As it hits in this, it resonates within the whole energetical center. I do have a Healing 101 playlist, and it goes through each chakra. So there is some education on this. There is a healing on this, so that you can go through your chakras. You can connect in and work on specific ones that you're struggling with. Realm Bridger. And honestly, I don't think that it's more about the different realms. This feels more internal realms, where you have like the physical, the spiritual, the emotional self. This is connecting very much with the higher self. That's part of this realm. Checking in where you're at helps you to strengthen your relationship with you and understand, well, what's happening for you, which will help you connect and bridge things together. Because when you have these different aspects of self that are not working together, it consumes a lot more energy and it makes things harder, because your emotional self may be tanking because your physical health isn't doing well, or your physical health is starting to be negatively impacted because you're not sleeping due to swirling brain. It's all interconnected. And that's the huge piece, that we need to start to bridge it and connect these pieces. And it's interesting, as I looked at this card, I don't know what that's supposed to be, but when I looked at it, it looked like the DNA helix. You got it there too. We're complex beings. And a lot of us like to compartmentalize things. You can't compartmentalize all these aspects of self, because they're a system that work together. And when they're not working together, that's when you start to see a lot of this energy consumption. And it just feels like, well, you're working harder than you need to. Think of it as a car that hasn't had a tune-up or an oil change, and you go through a lot more gas. Same idea. And it feels like Cancer is going to give us that emotional tune-up that we need, that spiritual tune-up, the physical tune-up. The Seven of Swords in reversal. Queen of Cups. That's not surprising. Justice in reversal. And the Page of Swords. We started to get a bit of sword here. The Seven of Swords, I'll get to that. But the Page of Swords, it asks to check in and ask those hard questions. Not critically and beating self up, but you start to ask questions about self, about what you're focusing on, what's happening for you. The Seven of Swords, it talks about that trickery, trying to get away with something. We need to be honest to self about what's happening. And we have to have the conviction to ask ourselves in a non-aggressive way, checking in. Additionally, we do need to be mindful because we are starting to collect retrogrades. Those planets, they're slowly going in, and we'll slowly keep connecting in with them. And, well, it's going to feel like we're collecting them all. We're going to have Neptune go into retrograde on the 4th of July, Saturn on the 13th. There's going to start, we're just going to start to collect them to head into the fall, where we're going to have, again, it's going to feel like the universe is in retrograde. We do need to be mindful of the reactivity and people pushing things onto us because they don't want to address it. Be mindful how you react to that, because again, the reactivity can be a challenge. Things are not as black and white as we think they are. We need that rainbow, that shades of color and experience. Don't become hypercritical or hypervigilant. Just be aware. This is another balance card. She usually is holding the scale. That balance is key, right? Like I said, this balance is a lot more than just, one or two things. You've got that scale balance. It's like juggling a ball pit of balance. You can do it, especially when you feel stable and aware of self. The Queen of Cups adds in the compassion and that emotional care for self and for others. Because having compassion that, someone's flipping out or having a hard time and being reactive, it doesn't give them permission, or you don't excuse it. It's just like, you're like, okay, that person's having a bad day. I'm not going to take on their energies. I'm not going to take on their crap. I'm going to give them the space that they need, and they need to deal with their crap. I'm not going to. Now, if it's your boss, again, you're going to have to individually how you deal with that. However, even if it's your boss, your parent, your lover, whoever, if they're having a bad time, you don't need to hold on to that for them. Making sure that you are dumping that energy. Because again, temperance is that energy balance. Easiest ways to do that. So if you go to work and your boss is like raging and you're like, whoa, it's not, if it's okay, as long as you haven't screwed up. If it's something that is not you, go to the bathroom, run your hands underwater. The water will help to release that energy. So you're not holding on to it. Another amazing, easy tool. So if you've had a really hard day at work or school or well, I guess school isn't going to happen in July, but you know what I mean? If you've had a hard day out in the wilds of the world, you can come home, take a shower. Not only will that refresh and rejuvenate you, because again, we're starting to get into the summer heat in North America. South America, I don't know if the South Hemisphere maybe would help to warm you up, cool you. I don't know. In the Northern Hemisphere, we are looking at getting hotter, so it can help to refresh and rejuvenate you. Before you get into that shower, ask any and all high vibrational beings to help dump some of this. Dump what is not yours and what's not serving you so that you regain balance. And many of us do our best thinking in the shower. You can start to say, okay, so what am I going to do next? What would help fill my cup? That's going to help connect you into the Cancer energy and keep you on that sparkly pathway. I want to thank you so very much for joining me today and exploring this Cancer energy. It's going to be full of sparkle, but the pathway isn't as, well, smooth as we'd hoped. So be present. And if you did enjoy this session, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up and let me know what you're excited for this reign of Cancer. And if you're looking for an added layer of support, I do have a Patreon page. I've provided a link below so you can go check it out. Again, I want to thank you so very much for joining me and exploring Cancer. Until tomorrow, my friends,